The Enforcer, a movie that came out in 2022 that I had no idea about. There was a bunch of action movies that came out during this period, and they seem to all be on Amazon Prime. So I'm slowly making my way through. I came across this and I thought, Antonio Banderas as a bad guy or a scary guy? Sure, why not? Let's see how he does.
He's the guy who was in Desperado and the Once Upon a Time in Mexico. He has some action chops. So let's give him a chance, shall we?
Credits come on, and the first thing I notice is Chicken Soup for the Soul produced this movie, like the books about chicken soup for your soul. And I was like, oh my god, is this going to be some cheesy story about some friendly hitman? But no, I was dead wrong. This is more like rotten chicken soup for your dark soul. This movie had everything. There were some boobies, there was some blood, there was even like dark web sex trafficking stuff, and 2 Chainz was in it. So it starts off with Antonio Banderas as Cuda, a very stoic hitman who barely says a word, and he's matched up for some reason with some street fighter, and this is a newcomer named Mojean Aria, and he reminds me of Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. And I guess he's some sort of up-and-coming star that Hollywood is really latching onto, and he's not bad. And the director is also, I think, a first-time director for a feature film who's coming out of the commercial music video world. So it's got a good visual thing going on. It takes place in Miami, but filmed in Greece for some reason. And yeah, it's your standard kind of late-night action Taken type of thing, but a little bit darker, which was the biggest surprise for me. So visually it was pretty good, and Kate Bosworth is in it. She makes her return, and she was pretty good. It makes me think that I want her to do more acting again, because she disappeared for a long time. I think she announced that she was retiring from acting. So she plays the lord of the crime world of Miami, and she's wearing like a brunette wig, and it's not bad. It reminds me of the character from the Dread movie, Mama. She's not as brutal as Mama, but she has this army of drug dealers surrounding her. And yeah, I didn't mind her that much. Antonio Banderas, on the other hand, he starts off as this intimidating hitman who barely says anything. And then suddenly he decides to help this girl on the street who just arrived in town. And he gives her money, puts her in a hotel because she reminds him of his daughter who's estranged from him. And then after that he takes in this young kind of protege, the street fighter, to be his next in line hitman type of thing. And Antonio Banderas just showed a little bit too much softness in that role. And he wasn't really that intimidating, yet people were really scared of him. I don't know, Antonio Banderas is not a bad actor, and it's just the way he delivers line in English, it takes you out of it. But otherwise, the movie, it's worth a watch. It's not completely action-packed. It's a lot of them just walking around intimidating people, and Antonio Banderas getting into arguments with gangsters. And the cinematography is really nice. It's actually pretty good for, I don't know what the budget is, but considering it's Chicken Soup for the Soul, it can't be that much. So this is definitely not a Hallmark type of movie. This is like a dark action, well, dark crime thriller is more like it. The script is written by the guy who wrote Point Break, 100% pure adrenaline. And so there isn't really too much motivations into the characters' backstories, that much. More to do with Antonio Banderas. Like, you learn a little bit about why he went to jail and what's driving him, but I found that was just the only inconsistency was his character's kind of behavior. And if you had to ask me what I would give it out of 10, 4 or 5, I guess, just because I didn't really find the main character that believable. That was the big drawback. And the whole thing where the street girl, she's like this street girl with a heart of gold, and reality, that's not usually the case. Anyways, if you can get past the chicken soup part, trust me, it's definitely not a chicken soupy kind of movie. It's more of a truck stop chili type of thing. Anyways, Film Dweeb out.